Push up every day. Fucking pressure when they pull up. Fucking pressure when they pull up.
Good day, everyone. It's me again. Name is Tebogo. For those that don't know me, it's a Monday morning. It's not actually, it's a Tuesday morning. Had a very long weekend, so I'm still trying to figure out my week. I work too much with the diary, so when I get to the office, it's when the whole week becomes clear. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed your weekend. What I want to talk about this morning is starting, man. And that's with everything, starting, particularly focusing on validation and discouragement, because I just feel that a lot of people never start or delay to start because they feel discouraged. It's either you've got this idea, but you want other people to validate it before you actually start it. If you say, I want to sell peanuts, and someone says to you, peanuts don't make money, all of a sudden, you don't go for that. And that's your passion, Or even work, sometimes you say, I want to go work for Tebza. And then someone says, Tebza doesn't pay, dog. Now all of a sudden you're discouraged, Tebza is this, Tebza is that. So you get that a lot, Other people, they don't start because they feel they need a car to get to work and they don't have a car, so not gonna get a job. Or they feel they need a computer for that particular job, therefore they don't start because they don't want to make a plan. They don't want the computer to find them on the way. Other people just don't start, man, because I always say the easiest thing to find in life is excuses. So when you're not ready to do anything, there's a million excuses. You won't be short of them, and you'll focus on them, and they will dictate whether you start or don't start, But I'll tell you something, everyone that's made it in life, and I'm not talking about entrepreneurship per se, but everyone that succeeded in something is people that started. They started that job, they started that business, they started, buying 2 bottles and selling them, buying 3 and selling them, buying 4 and selling them, and they grew like that, I remember with me, back in the years when I had lost a job, when I had lost my first corporate job, and I didn't have a job, and I wanted to go back into business. And I needed a job that could allow me to raise money. And I decided to look for work in the insurance space because, I was told that you write your own check there. And I applied at Liberty Life. And when I got the job, I was very excited. I remember I didn't have a job. I had already moved back home because I had lost my first house. It's a story for another day. And when I got home, I was so excited. I was telling my mother, may her soul rest in peace, that, Ma, I got this job, And we were talking about it. And she was like, King, what job is it? And I was telling her, I'm going to be selling insurance. But because of my excitement, she was excited for me. and she didn't want to discourage me, but because of what she knows of insurance salespeople, that you work strictly on commission, and if you don't get people or if you don't get business, you're not gonna get paid. The next morning, I remember we were having breakfast and she brought it up. It's like, hey, I'm worried a bit. Aren't you worried about working and not getting paid? And I remember we laughed about it, and I said to her, Ma, if I didn't bring business, why should I get paid? And she looked at me. I think by then she knew what sort of person I was. So, she was just voicing out her concerns, which were valid. But the point I'm trying to make with that example is that sometimes a concern could be from someone you love very dearly and from a very good space. At the time she wasn't saying, no, don't go do that job. She was just saying, so if you didn't get people, you're not going to get paid. So it's some realities at some point that could have sprung to me and said, oh my God, I'm not going to get paid if I don't work. You get what I'm saying? But because my mind is, I'm a bit of a workaholic, and I knew I knew there was never going to be a day where I didn't get sales, or a month where I didn't get sales. If I sell, I sell, and I became the best in the team that year, and I became one of the top sales guys. So I've sold insurance, and you can imagine selling something you can't see or touch, something that's not tangible. But even so, when I started my training, we needed a laptop, we needed a car. And at the time I didn't have both, But I wasn't going to stop. I wasn't going to say, no, I don't have a car, no, I don't have this, I don't have that. Luckily I had things to sell. When I had lost my first house, I still had some furniture, some electronics to dispose of, swap them for, sell them for cheap, put the money together and buy myself the laptop, buy myself, try and get myself a whip. I remember I borrowed a friend's car for the first couple days, while trying to arrange a car, and cut the long story short, I ended up with a car, I ended up with a laptop after I had started. So the point I'm trying to make is sometimes what you need to start will find you on the way. It's the same as my current business. Like I said, I've ran a couple small businesses. Hey, this guy now. Like I said, I've run a couple small businesses, and the money to start is always a hindrance, and but my mentality is start when you're not ready. Start when you're not ready, and let readiness find you when you're ready to model your business now. Now when you're getting ready, your business is starting to take shape. You started out doing this because you wanted to get there. For example, when we started Nungu, I did quite a number of things. So the whole plan was to be Nungu marketing and distribution. But when we started, we couldn't do distribution because, we didn't have pricing, we didn't have where we could get product, we didn't have vans or vehicles or whatever. I was driving an Opel Corsa, and that was my everyday car. That was my only car. Let me not say it's an everyday car, let me say it was my only car. So what I used to do is I was a self-taught graphic designer, so I decided to use graphic designing to actually raise money to start this business. Because it was a skill that I didn't have to outsource, but I could go and sell and get business for that, which I did land some good accounts. And I did the work, I did the work because now I didn't have to go outsource the delivery. I could do it myself. It cost me nothing. It cost me nothing but time. I just had to sit at my desk and do it. Got paid. Now I start pursuing other avenues within the business. I start negotiating some distribution, pricing. I started negotiating a couple of deals, and which eventually I did get. So now I stopped doing the designs completely because I don't like it. It's self-taught. There's limitations to what I knew, what I didn't know. It was stressful doing those designs. I only taught myself to design just to do flyers for gigs, but it ended up being something I needed to do to survive. But it helped me raise money for my current business. I think I made about 150. But that was a couple months later. That was a couple months after I had started the business. I think almost close to a year. And then I managed to take some of that money to buy a used truck, a used Kia K2700. I remember, I think I bought it for 70,000. Scrap, but it managed to do the work for about a year or two. And I made sure that it brings the guap in, so it paid for itself. But the point I'm trying to make is this morning is that always start when you're not ready. Get up, go out there, make those calls, interact with as many people as possible within your field, interact with possible clients that can listen to you. Do those presentations as often as possible. Knock on those doors. You're not ready. They'll say you're not ready. I remember when I was trying to get our very first client. Our very, very first corporate client at Nungu is a company called Aldo Africa. They manufacture and distribute sweets and lollipops, So when I was trying to get that client, let me tell you that story quick. When I open. So when I was trying to get that client, I remember they themselves used to be distributed by another company called Nutella Imports or Nutella Importers. And I would go there and make presentations about how I could maximize their awareness of certain products prior to the World Cup. At the time we were talking about, I think that was 2009, or late 2009, early 2010. And I remember one day after one of the presentations I had done, I'd been doing quite a lot of presentations and not getting any of the work that I wanted. And I remember one of the presentations, I asked to go to the bathroom, and on my way back, they were discussing me in the boardroom. And a lot of the talk was about, I think he's bluffing. I don't think he's got the resources. I don't think he can do this in KZN, Cape Town, where, in multiple provinces at the same time, because that's what I was presenting, that no, I can. And to be honest, I was not ready. They were validated. I've just arrived at work. It was right. I wasn't ready. I didn't have the resources to do that national campaign and whatnot. But I knew that in my pricing structure for the proposal I was presenting, had they said yes, I had already covered and budgeted for that. You know, I was going to be able to deliver that project. And I priced it such that I wasn't making money at the time. So, you know, I priced it just to win the business. Not that the business was not going to make money, but me personally, I wasn't going to make money. I was just not going to lose. So, but hearing this prior, luckily for me, I knew how to approach the second phase of the presentation, because now I knew what their concerns were. You know, it was more capacity. You know, do you have the capacity to do what you're saying you're going to do? But the point I'm trying to make is I was still not ready. So on the next presentation, which was a week later, I addressed all those capacity issues. You know, I addressed them as best as I could with the nothing that I had as I could. And lucky for me, they said, okay, cool, let's give it a go. You know, let's give it a go. I said, look, you don't have to pay me. And my negotiation was that you will give me 50%. And then I will do the entire project complete. You will go and assess, and when I'm done, or when you are done assessing, we can have a meeting and you can tell me if I did it or not. You know, so I'm literally charging you 50%, but if you're happy with the work that I did, then you'll pay me the other 50%. You know, so it wasn't really about I'm charging you 100% and you're paying 50 now and you'll pay 50 later. So it was, you don't trust. Yes, I don't have a good portfolio. I don't have good reference. Or I don't have reference at all. Let me not say good reference. You know, I didn't have bad reference. So I just didn't have reference at all where they could say this dude has done this, done that. So I wasn't presenting a portfolio. I was just presenting what I'm capable of doing and them giving me a chance. And when they did give me a chance, I mean, we rocked that project so quickly, so well, in about 6 provinces. And while we were busy implementing the project, I got a couple of volunteers. I got a couple guys that I could also pay with the 50% that I had been given, which allowed me as well to travel a bit. While we were doing that, they saw the impact. Called me to a meeting, paid me my other 50%, said, let's do it again bigger. So what I'm trying to tell you is that along the way, readiness caught up. Because if I had waited to be ready, if I had counted the things that I needed resource-wise, I never would have started. To this day, they're still my client. So if I want you to take anything from this, is start when you're not ready. 1. 2, don't be discouraged by people who voice out their worries about what you intend to do. You know, as long as it's not crime, I don't see why you should stop. You know, a lot of people come to me and say, I want to start, but my wife, blah, 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 my man, blah, 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 because I'm going to need to travel and they're not comfortable with that. And you just need to decide what's more important. I'm writing a book, and the first chapter in that book is business is a function, not an emotion. I'll talk about it way later, that part, but there needs to be a time where you decide what's important. There needs to be a time where you decide what is it that you want to achieve a year, 5 years, 10 years, however many years from now, you know, and you need to look back 5 years, 2 years, whatever many years from now and say, you know what, I wrote my own story. I started and I didn't let anybody discourage me. So yeah, hit like if you think I'm not talking rubbish. Hit dislike if you think I'm bullshitting. This was my first episode. Cool.